Yes, the rumors are true. A lot of you already spotted this in advance. The 2-year break of not wearing an Apple Watch is officially over. I'm back on the bandwagon, and there's a multitude of reasons like usual. It's not just one simple thing, but I'll explain the purchase, the rationale, how it all works in today's video, but this is going to be a geeky, nerdy Apple Sheep one. So strap yourselves in, get the popcorn, let's go. So, reason number one, I was not just bored and felt like having an Apple Watch again. Should be mentioned if you go back in 2023 and watch the video where I explained why I stopped wearing my Apple Watch. I was in a time of digital detox, okay? I was mostly trying to focus more on my surroundings. I was traveling a lot and I was getting sick of having to pack chargers everywhere, and I was trying to fight smartphone addiction. And I found not wearing an Apple Watch helped me disconnect a lot easier and helped me live in the moment a lot more. Of course, these are all still good things, and they're all still things I will probably eventually go back to in the future, but I got a whole different job last year that involves social media managing, and it means I'm filming and using my phone actually more now than I ever have before, because not only am I trying to manage my own brand with Tailosive, but I'm also trying to stay on top of all kinds of content and community questions when it comes to the Telotruck accounts. And not only am I just managing social media, I'm also working with other people like I never have before. Usually for YouTube, it's pretty much just been me, but now I've got a boss, now I've got coworkers that like to call because they're busy and they've got stuff going on. And there were multiple times in the past year where I started running into circumstances where I would miss phone calls from my bosses, which is of course embarrassing, or someone would be trying to reach me and I would miss it because my phone is at a table somewhere, or my phone is being used as a camera, even more so now than ever. So just having a quick way to answer a phone call or manage a text message now that I've got a whole different group of people reaching out to me on a more regular basis. Yeah, as that started happening more and more, I started going, you know, I used to have an Apple Watch for this kind of thing. And to be fair, for the time of life I was in 2023, I do think the Apple Watch was unnecessary. But with my current job and all of the communication going on and all of the smartphone use exponentially increasing, I'm back in a walk of life where having an Apple Watch is actually quite handy. And even though I've only been wearing this watch for a few days, there's already been multiple situations where it's paid off. I've been able to respond to people faster or take phone calls quicker when planning and logistics and all that kind of thing. So that's reason number one. A couple weeks ago, I ultimately decided, you know what? I think I want to go back to wearing an Apple Watch. But then the next part of the equation, well, okay, Drew, if you want to go back to wearing a watch, which watch is it gonna be? Obviously, I still loved my Apple Watch Series 7, loved the big screen, loved the thin bezels, but similar to why I'm now using a case on my 16 Pro Max, before I almost never wore a case, I wanted this to be more functional and more tool than it is fashion piece, but there is still a deep-rooted Apple sheep inside of me. There's a nostalgia element here, and of course, if you guys remember a few years ago, I checked out a ceramic Series 5 that at the time felt like a pretty good deal, around $400, considering when the ceramic Apple Watch edition came out, it was like $1,400. Very expensive, but very beautiful and unique, because since the Series 5, Apple has not made any Apple Watches in ceramic, and because I love the kind of glossy white pearl-esque color, that's what my cars are, that's what my phone is, I kind of got this white pearl look going. I've always loved that ceramic Apple Watch. If you recall me reacting to the unveil of the ceramic Series 5, I was passionate about it then, and I'm still a big fan of it today, but because I wasn't that interested in, you know, blood oxygen level checking or having a super accurate heart rate monitor or any kind of health features, that was not the motivation with this thing at all. My main motivation was, where can I find like an affordable Apple Watch, but of course I don't want to go too cheap. You know, I know the aluminum models have that Ion X glass that scratches up really easily, so I want the sapphire glass, and I knew I definitely wasn't going to buy a brand new one, because not only do I kind of hate the Series 10 design, but I also just don't want to reward Apple for the laziness. So of course your boy, as usual, goes on to eBay, and I found what I thought was a striking deal for the condition on a 44mm ceramic Series 5. It was listed as excellent condition, and the weird thing about it was it was sold alongside every other finish of the Series 5, aluminum, steel, and titanium, and yet they were all the exact same price, like $127 for any size and any finish, and they were all in excellent condition. At least I think at the time of recording this video, there are still some available, so not a sponsored video, but if you're curious where I got it, I'll leave the link in the description, but the seller did support returns, so I knew that, okay, if this ends up being a scam or if this ends up being wrong, I can just return it and get all of my money back. But I also thought this would be a great opportunity as a guy who's been advocating for buying secondhand on this channel a lot more frequently. I've been saying all the best deals you'll find on Amazon or eBay and Swappa and Best Buy. You know, in today's day and age, for the vast majority of people, I don't think there's much sense in buying most products brand new because you can find so much savings here. And I thought the Ceramic Series 5, I've got a lot of nostalgia for it because I love the finish. Again, I'm just using the watch mostly for taking phone calls and responding to text messages more quickly. I don't need the fastest processor. I don't need the fastest charging or anything. But I also thought, as a guy running the Tailosive Tech channel, it would be a great lesson in depreciation to people who ask about it or are curious, why is Drew wearing a Series 5 Apple Watch? Well, keep in mind, this was a $1,400 watch when it was brand new, and yet just a couple of years go by and I was able to pick it up in excellent condition with a battery health at 89%, which is honestly pretty good if you consider Apple stopped making the Ceramic Series 5 back in like 2019, 2020 era. You know, there were probably some repaired models that they kept around for refurbishment and that kind of thing, but considering this watch was probably manufactured around 6 or 7 years ago, 89% battery health is impressive to me, and also it's been lasting me easily throughout the day, so I'm fine with the state of the battery. But what a great lesson and how much of a deal you can get on a product if you're willing to just wait a little bit and shop around a little bit on the second party sites. Like, I can still return this if something goes horribly wrong with it, but this one is in much better condition than that $400 version I bought a couple of years ago. That one had like permanent stains on the glass and the screen had turned very green for some reason. This one, I've looked all over it. I can't find a single imperfection. It looks flawless. It obviously doesn't come with the original Apple Watch band with the ceramic pin, but the glass is perfect. The battery is solid. It doesn't have that green tint to it that the last one did. And for $127, this Ceramic Series 5 is cheaper than what most people pay for AirPods. That's a great story, and I love talking about how much money can be saved if you're just willing to wait a little bit. So I would rather, if I'm gonna wear an Apple Watch on this channel and I'm not using it for the greatest graphics or the latest CPU features or the latest finger tapping capabilities, no, that kind of stuff is silly. I'd rather it be a reminder of where the best deals are, where the most savings are, because this is essentially depreciated by over 90% since it's launched, which sucks if you buy the product brand new. But if you're like me and you're willing to wait a little bit and buy it secondhand in good condition, you can actually save a ton of money and still have a great overall product. It looks fantastic and it's been working great for me so far. And it honestly kind of impressed me that the deal was this good. I feel like the seller probably didn't even know what they had on them, because if you just go to the recently sold section on eBay, you will see many Ceramic Series 5 Apple Watches selling recently, like within the last couple of months, for $400, $500, $600. Sure, some of them might come with more original packaging and that kind of thing, but it's not obviously a super high in demand model. But I feel like if you're a nerdy, geeky, Apple sheep kind of guy like me, it's the kind of watch that you know is special and you know is unique, because Apple's probably not going to bring back a ceramic Apple Watch. But if they do, I'll be excited to talk about it on this channel, and I'll be excited to pick it up in a few years when it's depreciated by over 90%. So that's why I'm wearing an Apple Watch again, in case you're curious, and I thought for $127, it's pretty hard to pass up on. Might even hold its value a little bit at this point, but that's okay. I don't really plan on selling it. I'm just going to keep on using it, and if I don't feel like wearing it in the future, I'll probably just hand me down to my wife or something. But what do you guys think of the ceramic design? Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.